Hello, everyone. In this session, from Paris to Seoul, Strategic Fashion Tech Ecosystems and Innovation, we are honored to have Yoobin Jung and Sunghoon Kang. And welcome, Yoobin and Sunghoon. And so Yoobin leads sustainable fashion at Plug and Play Tech Center. And Plug and Play is a Silicon Valley headquarters venture capital and corporate innovation platform. With a background in chemistry, fashion design, and sustainable sourcing, she supports early stage investments and corporate strategies. And Song Hoon Kang is a seasonal global marketer and the CEO of co-founder behind Studio Lab. So after a decade leading global marketing at Samsung Electronics, Sung-hoon co-founded Studio Lab to solve one of fashion's bottlenecks, repetitive content production. So today we have Yoobin and Sung-hoon from two different perspectives, VC and startup, to share their insights. So let's start with Yoobin. So Yoobin, in your work with global corporate partners like Lectra, Inditex, and Kering, etc., so what are two or three key pain points you consistently see across the fashion brands and supply chain?
Sure. I will say the first thing is overproduction. So as you know, about 30% of produced stock in the worldwide, they are never getting sold. And also the huge problem is that they are going to landfill or getting burned, and that's a very sad fact, right? So I think like the overproduction is a huge pain point when it comes to cost, when it comes to environmental impact. The influence is immense. So like there are a couple of technologies which I will happily show you in during the session. So the overproduction is something everyone wants to solve, and also there is a regulation coming in France called AGEC law, which is they will prohibit destruction of unsold garments, which we are really keen on learning more about the policy details. But overproduction, I will say that's like one of the big pain points in the fashion industry. And the second one would be fragmented supply chain. So fashion industry notoriously nothing is vertically integrated, right? So the fashion brands, the value chain is very complex, from the cotton farm to actual shirts that you are wearing. There are so many stakeholders, and the thing is like a lot of upstream stakeholders are such a tiny companies. So the thing is like when we are trying to scale up sustainable cotton, for example, or circularity, we need some work all together from the upstream to downstream, while the everything is very fragmented and the upstream companies are just small, medium-sized enterprises. So it is so important to engage large global fashion brands who have the buying power, and also the strategic partnerships between the upstream and downstream will be like absolutely essential. So there are like also some attempts, for example, in France, led by ex-CEO of Kering, and like it's called the Fashion Pact. They are like trying to uh, making like all the C-levels of the fashion brands to join forces to change the industry. Like such, initiatives like absolutely needed to change the industry. So I will point out overproduction and fragmented supply chain.
Yeah, well, absolutely. With overproduction, basically, it's really a big challenge that we can say. But when you mentioned about these new regulations in France, basically with EU's sustainable regulation, for example, these days we are talking about digital product passports. So when these sort of regulations taking effect, what kind of investment or innovation opportunities do you see in sustainable fashion tech?
So well, first of all, like when it comes to understanding the traceability of the supply chain, there are technologies. It's just a matter of when we will actually deploy them. And fashion brands are already starting to deploy those technologies to answer to digital product passport. The first thing is fashion industry is historically very unregulated industry, like compared to any other consumer goods, such as food or cosmetics or health or any other industries. It's such a unregulated industry. So I will say when were like so many regulations in place, fashion brands were screaming like, "Oh my God, we don't know how to deal with them," you know? So the thing is like, yeah, that's really like how industry was reacting. We figure it out and we are moving ahead with some technologies. So for example, there is a French startup called Fairly Made. They're already working with amazing big corporations such as LVMH and SMCP. They are able to help them actually, be compliant to those regulations. So while these guys are there, now one another challenge for big corporations is to reduce scope 3 emissions. So I think like I do still see that the investment opportunities are there to reduce scope 3 emission. So everything around circularity, like how to use the reuse or recycle, the circularity would be great. And secondly, like how to reduce the emission from the upstreams, such as like agriculture. So cotton agriculture is also notoriously emitting a lot or using a lot of water. So the scope 3 emission reduction should be done. And I think like there will be a huge chance for fashion industry to move ahead and even investors invest in them and make some money.
Mm, yeah, I see. But can you elaborate more, like, the collaboration between startups and large fashion corporations actually accelerate innovation, among all these challenges or in the value chain?
Sure. So maybe like the best example would be Cirque and Inditex. So textile recycling, more specifically polyester and cotton recycling, they are going there, right? Like not just Cirque, but also there is company called Renewcell. They also work with H&M, signed a big deal. Lululemon, they just signed a 10-year offtake agreement with an Australian startup called Samsara Eco. So the textile recycling is getting scaled up, and the fashion brands are playing such an important role. But like the Cirque specifically, they will build a plant in France, which will be the first commercial plant of the company. And the plant requires 500 million. And it is funded by the European Union and the French government. So when it comes to scale up those technologies, all key stakeholders like fashion brands who will show that their needs for sustainable feedstock, governments who will also fund or give some debts at great terms to startups and also investors. All of the key stakeholders' role is so important to scale up. So it's not going to be only like blaming on fashion brand or blaming on government. It's everyone has to work together.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, basically, I think I see the good like directions in France or in Europe that we really dedicate to just tackle all these issues from top down to the small business and then or from the government or even the whole like EU. And this is really something that we are taking it seriously. And um, so from your perspective, with this kind of environment, what I mean environment, is like the trends that everyone is really taking it seriously now. But in globally, from your perspective, so how would you describe the current state of the global fashion tech ecosystem?
So the first thing is like AI is shaping a lot of different things. It doesn't only shape, like, for example, like supply chain management, but also like how we shop, right? Like on the e-commerce, like there is a very hyper personalized way of shopping. And when it comes to managing the retail floors, or when it comes to design, like a lot of different things are getting shaped by AI. So like AI will play such a big role to change the fashion ecosystem. To be fully honest, like a like fashion industry is not the industry that is most tech forward, right? So but like if we do not like grasp the opportunity to fully leverage AI right now, we might get also again go behind and always have that problem in the industry. So I think that right now it's such an exciting moment. While the tariff situation of the Trump administration makes things very complicated for the fashion industry. I think like the fashion industry is actually one of the industries that get the most affected by the tariff situation, because like heavily we are having that supply chain in Asia, notoriously in China, India, Southeast Asia, like all of those like European and American fashion brands, they are having their supply chain there. So like nobody actually figured out like how in the end what will be the price, what will be the margin, So like right now, also fashion brands are suffering from the financing because the stock market is not very gentle to those fashion brands. A lot of fashion brands, they lost a lot of market valuation. So the thing is like AI has to be invested by fashion brands, and they do invest in AI. However, the tariff makes things very complicated. So yeah, like it'll be quite an interesting and tough time for the fashion industry.
Yeah. That's really an issue. But I think with AI, well, basically now with the AI technologies, you can solve for a lot of like repetitive work or the complex analysis. So I think it will soon that we can figure out how to face all these challenges. I think, yeah. But talking about solutions, AI solutions or solutions. What kind of startup solutions are showing the most potential in addressing those challenges? For example, in the transparency, circularity, or digital transformation.
So I would like to share my screen, if I may, which is our
Sure.
startup portfolio company. So here we go. Can you
Yes.
see it, right?
Yeah.
So this is a company called Many AI. They are based in UK. and we have invested last year, which we are really, really excited about this company. So what team is building is like the complete AI stack for a agile fashion supply chain. The reason why I was excited about this company is that when I used to work in the Paris fashion industry, I worked with a lot of like Italian factories in Milan, in Firenze, and the thing is like I had like literally like different WhatsApp groups with all the factories just to ask them or chase them up like where are my samples, so or where is my production, like so because I was like managing the production and also product development. So, like that's a life, in the fashion brands. And it's so hard to know exactly like how much the progress the factories made about my order. So the company started with that idea. How can we help fashion brands and factories eventually have the transparency in terms of their production schedules? And second thing is that like the reason why we have overproduction, there are many, many reasons, but like what factories want are large quantities, right? They want large quantity of one, like few units, while fashion brands don't want that. They want to have a lot of different styles for very small quantities, and they want to test the water, and then they want to reorder things. However, let's say we drop something in early September and get the production in like mid-October, you miss the timing to sell that. So this company also helped to make that the order almost as on demand, like trying to reduce the production lead time drastically. How can they do that? They create digital twins of fashion factories and understand that the AI real time, they are understanding where the capacity is. So in the digital twin, every seamstresses, let's say I am putting buttons, and while Ching, you are, I don't know, like managing overlocking machine, then like how much the percentage the order you made and I made like is just like constantly real time updated on the platform. And so the key benefit is that the AI can match the suppliers and brands real time. If let's say I am like H&M and trying to order something like just 200 pieces of a dress, they can do that like by basically match like, okay, in my supplier network, who has the capacity today, and also they can help brands to understand how much fabrics are sitting, how many meters of fabrics are sitting in the factories. The thing is like we sometimes don't know exactly how many meters of that stock we have today. So just using those materials, you can understand where the, you know, uh, which factory you can order and just quickly produce something. That's also pretty cool. Also, the AI can read the tech pack and quickly like understand how much time will be consumed. And also it can be used to negotiate the quotation between factories and the fashion brands because AI will analyze exactly how much time it will spend and yeah, and also like it can create bill of materials very quickly and eventually also like real-time critical paths. So this company is like really, really exciting one to in my opinion, and that's why Plug and Play has invested in this company. And the company is like making such a great progress in terms of like clients. such as like Zalando. So they are making great business. We wish to see them in the supply chain of every fashion brand.
Yeah, wow, fantastic. Yeah, it's impressive of what they solve the problem and giving the opportunities. And talking about those startup-led solutions, I think today we also have a very good examples in Korea, also providing their solutions to brands. And so now it's Sunghoon Kang, the CEO and co-founder of Studio Lab, and Sunghoon, on site today, and then who can share his experience with us. So Sunghoon, would you like to introduce what Studio Lab's solution and how you addressed all these challenges?
Hello, thank you for inviting me. I will share our document. So Studio Lab is, as you heard, Studio Lab is from Korea. So I'm Sunghoon Kang, the CEO of the Studio Lab. We are developing a solution that automates photography and detailed page creation. Studio Lab is spin-off from Samsung Electronics for 4 years ago, and where I spent 10 years in the global marketing team producing online contents. So we are focusing on online commerce market in fashion. In the world of e-commerce, high quality photography and detailed pages are essential for driving sales. However, these tasks are typically expensive and time-consuming and rely heavily on manual labor. So at Studio Lab, we developed two groundbreaking solutions to address these challenges. First one is an AI-driven content creation platform, and second one is automated photography with intelligent robot. So our solution already has received the Innovation Award in both AI and robotics categories in CES. So the first our product is a detailed page generation service named GenC. As you can see in the image, detailed pages are essential for online sales. According to Amazon, it can boost sales by over 20%. However, developing a product detail page like this, a page like this, typically involves branded design or sales copyright and layout and arrangement, which often requires engaging on a very external agency. So to solve this problem, Studio Lab have developed a generative AI-based automate detail page creation service named GenC. By simply uploading a photo, our AI generates product detail page in various design styles like this. So from now, you don't need any web designer anymore. And our AI also recommend the first image to display. And our Vision AI analyzes the product and automatically writes feature-focused copyright like this. And also, detail pages and the color showcase pages are both generated at once in just 15 seconds. So by reducing these several multi-step 2-hour process to just 15 seconds, we significantly cut down on both time and operation cost. We accumulated data from online commerce to create a multimodal AI, which analyzes products and generates detailed page. So we open our SaaS solution. So in Korea, we've already launched the service in SaaS model, and over 5,000 users, including major enterprise, are using it to sell their fashion product. So in Korea, already major company like major fashion company in Korea such as LG Fashion or Borvik, Jisen or W Concept, as well as agencies and commerce platform are using our technology to create their contents. And they say they are achieving an efficiency of over 90%. Beginning of this year, we are planning to launch our service internationally with plans to expand beyond the apparel fashion into categories such as jewelry, bags, and the shoes. So we will launch our Gen Z for jewelry version in this September. So now let's talk about robotic photography solution in name Gen Z PB. PB means photobot. Maybe all of you, as you know, in online commerce, three types of photos are needed, like this: model shot, product shot, and detail shot. To solve this problem, we built an intelligent robotics-based commercial photography robot, Gen Z PB. So let's see our video. Our robot analyzes the product in real time, so it knows where is the pocket and where is the neckline and what is this color and what is this product. Then it identifies and captures this detail with the AI automatically instead of the human photographer. So it knows where is the feature like this. And also our Gen Z PB can take a picture of the mannequin or human models like this because it has a self-driving module like human legs and manipulating robotics arm like photographer's arm. And AI is specialized for photography in fashion. So it supports shooting like this. And of course, recently we have a POC with Samsung Electronics also. This is not in fashion domain, but we prove it's possible. So we took a picture of the TV or refrigerator or the smartphone also. So our robot replicate the action of a professional photographer with AI. So we offer in-house studio for every major company in Korea. So our AI identify product, model spec, model pose, or background and composition. And AI also can control ISO of camera or shutter speed, aperture, focus, zoom in, zoom out like a human photographer. And we already build our robotics with ARM and the self-drive module. So we already applied this technology in fashion lookbook, like fashion editorial and product photography, and even pop-up store. Because in Korea, pop-up store is very popular, so every customers want to enjoy new experience. So our customers want to make photo booth with our AI robotics solution. So we already build a booth like this. Then if customer come to here, they can make video shot like this video. So we built a specialized robotics booth for the fashion company, so they can get their photos and videos like this. So we offer model style photo shoot for visitors at our photo booth and service that many Korean commerce brands are actively leveraging and experience zones. So we are also looking for a global brand to collaborate with on this pop-up experience. And for example, in 2023, Copernicus has a runway with the robotics featuring a robot dog on their runway. And similarly, our system can coordinate with models in real time on the runway to capture photos, so allowing us to create an event greater impact. So our goal is to automate the global commercial photography market, because all of the robotics solution change is just focused on the narrowed industry, and we'd like to broaden the area to fashion domain. So eventually, our goal is to become a SaaS company that provide all-in-one solution from photography to marketing contents. So thank you for listening our introduction, and thanks, honored to join this forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunghoon. Yeah, it's impressive that your solutions are having integrating AI and robotics, and AI and robotics are the key future trend for the industry, especially in fashion industry. And this is really a good solution that we can looking forward. But what I want to know is that Studio Lab is a spin-off from Samsung Electronics. So, spinning off from a large enterprise into a startup is a major shift. So what challenges did you face in that transition, especially, around the go-to-market strategy or navigating the cultural difference?
Actually, it was 4 years ago, and it was very difficult decision for me. And I didn't have much experience in startups. I often say I had 10 years of experience in Samsung, but I was year just zero in a startup. So in Samsung, we had a strong and well-built sales pipeline. Even new product has a solid sales lead. And there were many internal teams to support us. But in startup, everything was up to me and us. So no brand awareness and no customers and no system. So we focused on building just one solid use case. In the beginning, we offered our product at a low price to get the first customers and prove our value. So after that, we used content marketing to promote our use cases and share the stories and build the trust. Luckily, our early customers stayed, and now we are slowly increasing our price and customer. And we are also trying to build similar use cases overseas in this year, using the same approaches.
Yeah, okay, I see. So actually, from talking about this go-to-market strategy, but when we talk about cultural differences, Yubin, you are based in Paris, and Sunghong, you are in Korea. So Yubin, are there any like structural or cultural differences between fashion tech innovations in Europe and Asia that startup founders or investors should be aware of?
So the cultural difference is like really huge, I will say. I think like first of all, how startups and corporates are working together in Europe and in Korea, very different vibe. So I will say in terms of the maturity, Europe has just like stronger maturity in terms of like that open innovation concept, right? Like a corporate and startup collaboration, while Korea is not. So like when like Korean startups deal with European brands or European startups deal with Korean corporations, there is always this cultural aspect that you have to consider. I remember that like one of our startups, the founder called me and like because I facilitated an introduction between a startup and Korean corporation, and he was like, I just came out from the meeting and I don't know if they like me or not. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, so I also texted them, the Korean corporation, like, oh, so how is the meeting with the startup? And then they were saying, oh, we like it, it's fantastic. So I was like, okay, there is literally the cultural gap between the European people and Korean people. Also, like, yeah, that collaboration is quite hard. However, there is a, company called Hyosung in South Korea. They are like one of the largest synthetic fiber manufacturer. They started working with a lot of like circular or sustainable textile startups globally, and which is such a something interesting to see because historically the company was not really doing a lot of that startup collaboration. Maybe they have acquired a lot of like technologies, but like they to scale up actually the circular textiles or bio-based synthetics, they realize that they have to work with startups. So they are like such as building a joint venture for bio-based elastin, and or they also work very like closely with startup for the textile to textile recycling. So we do see that. However, the cultural difference is quite hard for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sunghoon will definitely, feel the the most.
Yeah,
Would you like to
actually,
say something?
yeah, actually, Hyosung is known to be very tough even in Korea. And and I also had a funny moment when I realized how long summer holidays in France. That's really showed me how
Yes.
different the work culture can be. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's really the good example. Okay, so then talking about all these like collaborations, so where do you see the opportunities for cross-border, like Korea and Europe, or Korea and the US, or in general partnerships, the opportunities? Let's start with Yubin, maybe.
Yeah, sure. So I will say again, like scale up the recycling or sustainable material technologies, because in Europe we have a lot of legacy brands, right? Like all of those like global brands are sitting in Europe in their headquarter, while their supply chain is largely in Asia. So the opportunities is to collaborate strongly between European fashion brands and Asian supply chains, such as like chemical companies like Hyosung. So then by doing that, they will actually scale up those technologies. Also, like largely combining the insights from different markets. So that will be yeah, like a biggest opportunity in my opinion. And another one I would like to say is like there was an exciting news that Gentle Monster, the fashion like eyewear brand in South Korea, they received an investment from Google for about 100 million, and to enter like to help Google enter the smart glasses market, which is very exciting because like it means that Google sees the power of Korean fashion, K fashion, and it is so important to have certain aesthetics into tech products. And the fact that Google chose Gentle Monster to do so is so interesting. So instead of all the like legacy European brands, so that's something I really, really like love to see more and more between the because like largely Europe and America was leading that cultural aspect, and just Asia was just seen as manufacturing site. Now Asia can also lead the cultural aspect of it and work with tech companies like Google.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. Well, I think even accelerating with K-pop, perhaps, so it would be a really good examples, combining all these examples. So my last question is that if you could give one practical advice to early stage fashion tech founders, what would it be? Let's maybe ask Sunghoon, would you like to address that?
Yeah. Studio Lab is also beginner in startup scene, but starting is always the hardest part. But even one small use cases can lead to big outcome, as I told you. So uh, uh, even your product isn't perfect, focus on building one working cases that will give you confidence running and prove everything you need to grow. So yeah.
Yeah. And Yoobin?
I will say, well, it sounds a little bit depressing, but like I will say stay resilient in the very difficult time. So I know that a lot of founders are struggling to raise as well, because the fashion industry, I mean, in general, VC industry is struggling a little bit because there are not many new funds. It's a downtime of the venture capital industry. Now also fashion industry is going through that downtime with the difficult economy in China and like the tariff situation. Everything makes very complicated. So stay resilient means to startups, well, manage your cash flow like wisely, or think about how to reduce the burn rate. Like all this like very like sad financial advices I would like to give. But at the same time, making a lot of ally, or making a lot of friends is so important. Like to scale up specifically sustainable fashion, I will say it's a in general to climate tech founders. It is so important to openly discuss the problem and how to scale up with all the key stakeholders, such as regulators, policymakers, investors, and the corporations. It's so important. So I will, yeah, like my advice will be like stay resilient and communicate more. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And stay resilient and also, uh, work together. Yeah, we have to collaborate and work together as what you mentioned from the very beginning. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all your insights and sharing your experience. So now we are open for the audience Q&A. So let me see if we have questions from the audience. Okay. Okay, so we have one questions. Okay, this is for you, Bing. So from a VC perspective, what do you look for in fashion tech startups before deciding to back them?
I will say like product market fit is the most important thing. A lot of like the sustainable fashion startups specifically, they sometimes come up with amazing material, but like not reflecting what brands exactly want from the hand feel, for example, how the aesthetic should look. Like, all this thing is so important. And also like the willingness to pay, so the market, even your product is innovative and amazing, like the willingness to pay has to be super high. So I will say like product market fit is something that I see the most. And then also from the point of view of the fashion buyer, fabric buyer, and like to see that if the materials are suitable, or if a company like Studio Lab, like which is fantastic, and because there is a lot of like redundancy in terms of like e-commerce, content management. It's so annoying, and you spend a lot of money for that. So the willingness to pay for that, and showing that ROI by investing in technologies like Studio Lab is just convincing to investors and brands to invest in those technologies.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So now we have another questions from the audience. This is for Sunghoon. So he says, thank you so much for your presentation. Looks very fascinating and interesting. So can we know what was the initial idea or spark that made you create the company and what were the challenges?
Thank you for your question. At the beginning of our startup, actually, I was a digital marketer in Samsung Electronics. We hired a lot of agencies for photography and detail page and web content. So actually, I paid a lot of money to our agency. So I'd like to change the situation. So at the first time, we built our own photo studio with no human. So we operating that studio for 1 year. Then I interviewed a lot of sellers, and they answered to me, it's so tough to taking a picture, and they have to a lot of work for making a digital content. So we got the hint from several interviews.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your for sharing all your experience and your thoughts. And I think we today we are having all these inspiring conversations. And thank you, Yoobin, and thank you, Sunghoon, for joining us. And so uh, that's it for today. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having
And
us.
yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye bye.